श्रीमते भक्ति नामेन नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा my sound is coming through there or it's still breaking?
Now it is clear, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Video is
Hare.
also fine.
So sorry for the delay. Yesterday was heavy rains here and I don't know, there is an issue with the internet here. So just before we start, a quick recap of yesterday's discussion. So devotees can kindly share whatever they remember from yesterday. Then we'll go ahead for the few verses today. Yes, bro. You can unmute and speak because chats I think will be difficult to see for me. So devotees can unmute and speak.
इधर से बोल रहे हैं। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। Prabhuji,
Yes.
yesterday you told about one should control the tongue because the tongue is most voracious and it is the cause of belly, genitals, and agitation of all the other senses. So, at any cost, one must control the tongue. And you told in two ways one should control the tongue, in speech and in eating. In speech, one should only speak related to Krishna, and in eating, one should only eat Krishna prasadam, that too in a regulated manner. So, this
Yeah.
Prabhuji 1.22.
Yeah. Thank you so much, bro.
Prabhuji, we saw that we should perform devotional service with determination. And for that, in Prabhupada purport, we read about a sparrow to whom Garuda helped.
Yes. So I said by determination, just by making plans with determination, one can overcome kama. Sankalpat sanjayate kama. Just by making plans with determination. If you decide something that today onwards I'm not going to do this, this decision itself may fail 100 times also, no problem. Like sometimes because we do not decide only, things will not happen only. Like if you decide today I'm going to sleep by 9 p.m. at night, at least you made a plan, na? There will be something, some power you will get that okay, you'll sleep by 9 p.m. today. If you don't make plan only, then nothing will happen. So it's set by planning, by making plans with determination, one can overcome. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, Prabhu, anyone else?
Raj, you mentioned that even struggles in Krishna consciousness are bliss producing.
Yeah, very good. And that little bliss which we have got in life, that is making us continued every day. Otherwise, somebody takes a some if some other outside person comes and watches at the life of devotee, they may say, "My God, they get up so early in the morning, they sleep on the chatais, and they wear only dhoti kurtas, and my God, cold water bath they take, and three times a day they have to take bath. Appears to be so austere life. My God." But devotees are blissful. So that because of that little nectar which you have got, that is making us continued. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, we
Hare
also
Krishna.
discussed where the mind always agitates and it goes outside. So we have to bring it back. We have to bring it back. So in this endeavor, bringing back, we will experience the joy. And also after in this struggle, there is after this there is a samadhi.
Yeah, yeah, correct. So this is a part of Ashtanga Yoga. Hundreds of time mind will go back, but we have to bring it back. And then in doing this, slowly one will approach towards samadhi. The struggle itself will be bliss producing. And then one will come to the platform of samadhi. When he will have darshan of two realizations. One is Atma and second is Paramatma. So Brahman is Atma realization, then Paramatma, and then Bhagavan. So these three kinds of realization will come in any path of yoga, whether it is karma yoga, dhyan yoga, bhakti yoga. So yeah, thank you, Naresh bro.
Yesterday we were also saying that the true yogi doesn't discriminate, doesn't distinguishes between, it doesn't see the differences between the various yoga systems, but he tries to see the essence of all yoga systems.
Mm. Yeah, basically not yoga systems. We have to understand. Basically, the different spiritual paths which are there, unnecessarily don't criticize them. This that. See the essence and go ahead. Means you see so whenever there is a conflict, see the commonality between religions. Like I remember myself, I can tell the example when I was the like in my college days. So because I am coming from a background of Swaminarayan, so from since last 15-20 years, my family members are still practitioners and preachers of Swaminarayan. And I was also a little bit so-called doing something here there. But when I came to voice, all other devotees started making fun of me. So much fun of me. They started taking oh मायावाद स्वामीनारायण क्या कुछ भी कौन से शास्त्रों में लिखा है इतना टांग खींचते थे मेरा वॉइस डिवोटीज बाप रे बाप. Or sometimes after coming to temple also some devotees used to make very lot of fun of me that मायावाद है क्या है कहाँ का लिखा है कौन है नया भगवान आए कहाँ से लाए something like that. But then whenever I used to go to Radheshyam Prabhuji or any other senior Vaishnavas, they used to always appreciate. Means they used to see only the commonality. Oh, they are very nice, they are following the principles of dharma, they are very strict in their brahmachari principles, the sannyasis are very strict. So they only common things were seen. Cow protection is done so nicely. Then I got faith. When religions, when we see common things which is common is appreciated, then. And one thing to be remembered, any kind of religion, any whether it is Jain, Sikh, or no matter which religion, if any religion is flourishing, na, that means some principle of dharma they are following very nicely. Like you see Jains people, they follow the principle of cow protection and austerity principle very nicely, much nicely they follow. So any principle of dharma which is followed nicely, it will make person flourish, it will make person and religion flourish. So some principle of Vedic dharma is followed nicely. Yeah, thank you so much, bro. Ravi, bro. Yes, any other corrections?
Ravi, you told about one more point that just as the doctor sees the patient, we are also seeing the same thing, and doctor is also seeing. Similarly, you give the example of mechanic also, and a coder
Sorry, your voice is not coming, bro.
knowledge of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, is it coming now?
Yes, yeah.
Prabhuji, you told that people see according to their knowledge. Just like you gave the example of doctor, mechanic, coder. So they were seeing the things according to the knowledge. Similarly, by developing knowledge of Lord from scriptures, we can see the Lord with the eyes of love, self of love. This one point you
Yeah.
told.
Only knowledge is not sufficient. There is a very particular method that is love is required. Knowledge doesn't help itself. This is knowledge of love, yoga of love. That is the way it is there. So you see, I will just tell you once. I just remembered one case study. There was one devotee once upon a time in one of the voices, and somehow he got too much mad after one Mataji in the company. Little got mad, too much disturbed and attracted. So he was telling. After few months, after a few months, he got to know, oh, this Mataji is not actually, this Mataji is Muslim. And you know what happened? He said, प्रभु जी पूरा लव ही चला गया. लव तो क्या एकदम दूर रहने लगे. बोला यार इतना क्या हो गया. बोले बस एक एडजेक्टिव डाल दिया उसके सामने. एक एडजेक्टिव डाल दिया बस. हाँ, और कुछ नहीं डाला. बोला भैया ऐसा क्या हो गया अचानक से सुंदर है सब कुछ है आपको लस्ट भी था क्या हो गया. नहीं बस बोले वो एक एडजेक्टिव सफिशिएंट था. एक एडजेक्टिव लग गया उसके सामने पूरा गायब हो गया. तो बोले पहले मुझे जो नॉलेज नहीं था. बोला अभी अभी दूर ही रहता हूँ मैं फुल दूर रहता हूँ. सारा चला गया. बोला ऐसा कैसे. मतलब पहले भी देख रहे थे अभी भी देख रहे हैं. बोला अभी थोड़ा देखने का नजरिया बदल गया है. जस्ट एक वर्ड ऐड हो गया उसके साथ में तो पूरा ही चला गया है. So you see, we don't see with our eyes actually. We see with our perceptions and we see with our knowledge. Like you see, if certain devotee is appreciated in front of you, na, like suppose now Tejas Prabhu is appreciated. Tejas Prabhu is ekdam high class devotee, this devotee, that devotee, amazing, so much service he has done. And now, if you appreciate a person and then you see him, then what happens? Then immediately you feel, oh, this is a very great devotee I'm meeting. Same eyes which are seeing. And if I just say 100 things about Tejas Pro, faults, this, that, next time you see, oh, this devotee should remain far. So that means our eye, what we are seeing is not just what we are seeing. What we are seeing is based upon the kind of perceptions which we have developed, the kind of vision which we have developed. So similarly, to see the Lord, there is a need of a prema. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kaushik. Any other last few two, 3 points?
Mm. Very well discussed
Prabhuji,
that
Yes, bro.
success is guaranteed for rigid practitioner.
Yeah,
Also,
success is guaranteed. Prabhupada writes in the purport. Tivra bhakti is required. Anyone who is doing Tivra bhakti, success is guaranteed. It may take some time. May not be soon, but it is guaranteed. It is guaranteed. Yes, thank you so much, bro.
Prabhuji saw vision of a true yogi that he sees Lord in everything and everything in Lord.
Hmm. So the first thing to see a Lord in everything and to see the Lord in everything in Lord is like when we see the sunlight, then we can see ourselves. We can see ourselves only when we see the sunlight, and we can see others also when we see the sunlight. So if you see the Lord, you can see yourself also, you can see others also. But if there is no sunlight only, it's totally dark, then you cannot see anyone, neither yourself, neither anyone else. So first vision is seeing the Lord, and then we'll find that Lord is there in everyone, in the terms of Paramatma. Okay. So now we go to the next section today. That is this section is of a very famous shloka from Prabhu. Can you share the screen? Yes, Prabhu.
Ah, yes, Prabhuji.
6.34. Okay. So the very famous shloka from Bhagavad Gita. So now Arjuna is getting question here. Okay, 6.33 also did we read, Prabhu? No.
Prabhuji, 32 we have to start from.
Okay, 32 we have to start. Correct. We'll start with 32. Right. So these are also actions of yogi. So 31st and 32 shloka, they are speaking about actions of a yogi. Okay. Yeah. So आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति यो अर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः.
translation is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and in their distress. O Arjuna. Perfect. One who is Krishna conscious is a perfect yogi. He is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by the dint of his own personal experience. The cause of the distress of a living entity is forgetfulness of his relationship with God, and the cause of happiness is knowing Krishna to be the supreme enjoyer of all activities of the human being, the proprietor of all lands and planets, and the sincerest friend of all living entities. The perfect yogi knows that the living being who is conditioned by the modes of material nature is subjected to the threefold material miseries due to forgetfulness of his relationship with the Krishna. And because one in Krishna consciousness is happy, it tries to distribute the knowledge of Krishna everywhere. Since the perfect yogi tries to broadcast the importance of becoming Krishna conscious, he is the best philanthropist in the world, and he is the dearest servitor to the Lord. Na cha tasman manusyeshu kaschin me priya krittamaha. In other words, a devotee of the Lord always looks to be welfare of all living entities, and in this way, he is factually the friend of everyone. He is the best yogi because he does not desire perfection in yoga for his personal benefit, but tries for others also. He does not envy his fellow living entities. Here is a contrast between a pure devotee of the Lord and a yogi interested only in his personal elevation. The yogi who has withdrawn to a secluded place in order to meditate perfectly may not be as perfect as a devotee who is trying his best to turn every man towards Krishna consciousness.
Mm. So the true devotee, here the definition of a true yogi is being given. So the quality of a true yogi is sarva bhuta hite rataha. So as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 5, 5th chapter also, this was mentioned in the 5.25, 525, that sarva bhuta hite rata. Sarva bhuta hite rata means yogis are engaged in the welfare of all other living entities. Sarva bhuta hite rata. So this shloka is speaking a little more detail about such point 5.25. So this is like an elaboration of 5.25, that how he does welfare for others. So he says, if any circumstance comes, like somebody gets some other people become happy, then he also becomes happy. Some other people are actually in the distress, then he also feels distress. That is the way of a yogi. He doesn't feel happy when somebody else is suffering or somebody else is minimized. So he said this is the right vision. And Krishna says, such a yogi I consider to be a very good yogi. That so there is one song also, no? Vaishnava Jana to तेने कहिए जे पीर पड़ाई जाने रे. So this is a very beautiful song by Narsingh Mehta in Gujarati. Vaishnava Jana to ene kahiye je. So he says, who is a Vaishnava? Peer padai jane re. So he said, he दूसरों के means one who sees others' misery is also one who becomes para dukha dukhi and para sukha sukhi. That is the vision of a true yogi. So this is mentioned here. Yeah, 33rd ones now. Now Arjuna is telling कृष्णा, माय गॉड, आपने जो भी योग का पद्धत बताया है यार, बहुत डेंजर लग रहा है ये तो. मतलब ऑलमोस्ट इम्प्रैक्टिकल लग रहा है आपने जितना भी अभी तक बताया ये सब कुछ करना. मेडिटेट करो, सबको इक्वल देखो, किसी को दुश्मन मत देखो, और किसी को ब्रीदिंग करो, और कुंभक को रेचक में मिलाओ, रेचक को कुंभक में मिलाओ. माय गॉड, इतना खतरनाक पाथ जो लग रहा है ना योगा का, परमात्मा रियलाइजेशन, दिस रियलाइजेशन appears to be very very tough. So Arjuna is telling, Arjuna vacha योऽयं योगस्त्वया प्रोक्ता साम्येन मधुसूदन एतस्याहं न पश्यामि चञ्चलावत्
Um,
चञ्चलावत्स्थितिम्.
Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and undurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Purport. The system of mysticism described by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, beginning with the words Suchau Deshi and ending with Yogi Parama, is here being rejected by Arjuna out of a feeling of inability. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga in this age of Kali. The present age is characterized by a bitter struggle for a life of short duration. People are not serious about self realization, even by simple, practical means. And what to speak of this difficult yoga system, which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of place, and detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjuna thought it was impossible to follow this system of yoga, even though he was favorably endowed in many ways. He belonged to the royal family and was highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior. He had great longevity, and above all, he was the most intimate friend of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5,000 years ago, Arjuna had much better facilities than we do now. Yet he refused to accept the system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any record in history of his practicing it at any time. Therefore, this system must be considered generally impossible in this age of Kali. Of course, it may be possible for some very few rare men, but for the people in general, it is an impossible proposal. If this were so 5,000 years ago, then what of the present day? Those who are imitating this yoga system in different so called schools and societies, although complacent, are certainly wasting their time. They are completely in ignorance of the desired goal.
So we Prabhupada is so mercifully writing that something which was impossible 5,000 years ago, how do you think that it will be applicable today? So nowadays we find so many different yoga groups becoming very, very famous, having different kriyas and mudras and this kriya, Sudarshan kriya, that kriya, and so max to max, little bit health benefit may come, little bit health may become more better because they're in word of goodness. Otherwise, such a practical this yoga kriyas and all. If Arjuna is telling that it was impossible, how someone can practice in today's age? Like I remember when I was once traveling in the train and I happened to meet one sannyasi. I came across one sannyasi. Now this sannyasi was some other path of yoga he was doing. Some hatha kriya, and this kriya, and some yoga. Now this sannyasi, almost we are going till Mayapur. So he was not eating any food only. I said, you take this nice Krishna Prasad, take. So he said, no, our rule is we don't take any food in train. We in traveling things we don't take food. When the things are traveling, we have to sit and take. I said, okay, sit and take. When the train stops, that time you take. So he said, no, we cannot take prasadam in the unclean place. The train is very unclean. Then he said, okay, get down on station and then take. So stations are also unclean. So then he said, okay, what you will take? No, I'll not take till anything till now. Till the time I don't reach Mayapur, I take bath, Ganga. I will not eat any food. My God, he did not even drink water from Bisleri, and neither he took food from the train or prasadam also, the homemade. I said, oh, such a high determination. So he said, like this. He said, generally we don't travel by train. Generally we walk. But there was some emergency conference. That's why we are traveling by train. And my God, and if you compare our devotees now, many devotees will go to Mayapur now. You see what will happen in the train. Devotees have a festival only in the train. Devotees do Harinam, devotees do chanting, and the train appears to be like a beautiful festival gathering of the devotees and feasting. Journey प्रसाद कहाँ से आया? इधर से आया, उधर से आया, ये खाओ, वो खाओ. क्या क्या करते हैं मस्त devotees एकदम फेस्टिवल बनता है devotees का. So you see, in Kalyuga अगर ऐसा rules लगाया होता, so you see here, seeing that it would be very difficult to get such vision. Arjuna says, I don't think ki I will be able to practice this path of yoga more than 3 or 4 days. Even if I become yogi, max to max 3 या 4 दिन का yogi बन पाऊंगा. Because my mind is very unsteady. It is very chanchal. And you told that to see happiness and distress of other people as your own happiness and distress means now if you see like that, it is not possible. If somebody is harming me, I cannot think that he is friend of mine. I mean, it is almost not possible. Somebody is killing me, somebody is abusing me. How to see that he is my friend? It is not possible for me like that. So Arjuna is clearly telling, admitting that I don't think I can practice such kind of yoga for more than 3 or 4 days. So then Krishna, and then one more thing is going to speak, the 34th shloka. Yes, bro. चञ्चल हि मनः कृष्ण प्रमाथिः बलवदृढम् तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सदुष्करम्.
The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the mind. Purport: the mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes overcomes the intelligence, although the mind is supposed to be subservient, subservient to the intelligence. For a man, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, but ultimately, no worldly man can do so, for this is more difficult than controlling the ragging mind. In Vedic literature, Katha Upanishad, it is said, Atma Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi Shariram Rathim Evacha Buddhim tu Sharathim Vidhi Manha
प्रग्राहम् एव च इन्द्रियाणि हयम् अहुर् विषयांशतेषु गोचरन् आत्मेन्द्रियमनोयुक्तं भोक्तेति अहुर् मनीषिणः. The individual is the passenger in a car or the material body, and intelligence is the driver. Mind is the driving instrument, and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the enjoyer or sufferer in the association of mind and the senses. So it is understood by great thinkers. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence, as an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of medicine. Such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga, but such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjun. And what can we say of modern man? The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the blowing wind, and it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind is to suggested by Lord Chaitanya is chanting Hare Krishna with humility. The myths are only then will there remain no other engagements to agitate the mind.
So in this verse, Arjuna is speaking of the fickle mind. So if Krishna tells, now suppose Krishna tells, oh Arjun, you are saying it is impossible to control the mind, but you can control the mind by intelligence, no? Prabhu, am I audible or breaking?
Audible, Guruji.
Yeah. So if Krishna, suppose Krishna will tell Arjun, because Arjuna told that my mind is very fickle, I won't be able to control. So now Krishna says, this is like an internal dialogue which happens. Krishna tells, oh Arjun, why you are so worrying? It is possible to control the mind by intelligence according to scriptures. Atmanam rathinam vidhi shariram ratham evacha. Soul is the passenger and the body is the chariot. And ahu shariram ratham indriyani ayam abhishun. So he said, those who are advanced in knowledge compare the body, which is made by the order of Supreme Lord, to be chariot. And the senses are like the horse, the mind, the master of senses. And so he says, intelligent is a chariot driver. So he said, you can control, no? So then Arjuna will say, but how can? But he said, the mind is very strong, very strong. He says it can even control the intelligence. Sometimes chariot driver is to be controlled by the charioteer. बट समटाइम्स क्या होता है, चैरियट ड्राइवर को चैरियट ड्राइवर जो है वो कंट्रोल करता है चैरियटर को, ऐसा भी हो सकता है. तो नाउ समबडी में से कि हाउ इट इज पॉसिबल. तो देन अर्जुन बोलते हैं, जैसे कभी कभी कोई खतरनाक बीमारी होती है ना, तो खतरनाक बीमारी इतनी डेंजर होती है कि जो मेडिसिन दी जा रही है उसको क्योर करने के लिए, उसका भी इफेक्ट कम कर देती है वो. इतना पावर है. जैसे कि एड्स बीमारी है, ऐसे अलग अलग बीमारी है, इतने खतरनाक बीमारी होती है कि मेडिसिन का ही साइड इफेक्ट प्रोड्यूस करना चालू कर देती है वो. So he said, I feel even I can control the wind, which is almost impossible. But I cannot do that. Kumbhak and Rechak can control the wind in my nose. मैं मेरे नोज के अंदर का जो विंड है ना, ऊपर नीचे बाहर अंदर, ये कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन मैं तूफान को कंट्रोल कर सकता हूँ. तो कितना खतरनाक है ना. इतना कुंभक को रेचक में मिलाओ, रेचक को कुंभक में मिलाओ, सुन के ही हरिबोल लग रहा है हमारा. और वो अर्जुन को बोल रहे हैं कि ये सब करना पड़ेगा अष्टांग योग में. और अर्जुन बोल रहे हैं मैं बाहर का जितना तूफान है उसको कंट्रोल कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन मेरे मन को और अंदर का जो ये सब कुछ है, ये तो बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट लग रहा है. सो दैट इज व्हाट ही इज टेलिंग. Arjuna is admitting. And then now Krishna is going to speak in the next verse. He is admitting, yeah, it's true that mind किसको ही कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाया है, लेकिन there is a way to control the mind, because without mind control yoga is impossible. Without mind control yoga cannot be done. Any kind of yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, कोई योग में सक्सेस नहीं प्राप्त होगा अर्जुन. So instead you have to control the mind. So Krishna is speaking in the 31st verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha असंशयां महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते.
Translation. Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Purport. The difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind, as expressed by Arjuna, is accepted by the personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the supersoul, restraining the senses and the mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagement is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. This is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. This attachment is called Pareshanubhava, spiritual satisfaction. It is like it is just like the feeling of satisfaction of a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. The more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing of the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna is therefore expert treatment for the mad mind, and eating the foodstuff offered to Krishna is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness.
Such a beautiful purport, right? So many vital points. So Krishna is admitting here that yeah, mind is like obstinate. Obstinate का मतलब पता है क्या होता है? Obstinate का मतलब जिद्दी. मन ऐसा जिद्दी है कि परेशान करके रख देता है. जिद्दी है, मानता नहीं हो, कुछ भी मना उसको मानता नहीं है. लेकिन दो तरीके से मन को किया जा सकता है. तो कभी मन मन की तुलना छोटे बच्चे से किया जाता है. जिद्दी. जैसे छोटा बच्चा है, अगर किसी किसी का छोटा बच्चा जो है वो बहुत जिद्दी है, बहुत जिद्दी है, तो उसको ये करवाने के लिए ना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, मतलब कंट्रोल करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. लेकिन भगवान कह रहे हैं दो तरीके लगाने पड़ेंगे. एक है अभ्यास और दूसरा है डिटैचमेंट. तो व्हाट इज डिटैचमेंट एंड व्हाट इज द प्रैक्टिस? तो यहाँ पर प्रभुपाद कह रहे हैं व्हाट इज द प्रैक्टिस. प्रैक्टिस क्या है? तो बोले ये जो खतरनाक खतरनाक वाली जो प्रैक्टिस है, सेलिबसी करो, ये करो, जंगल में जाओ, ये सब करो, ये सब प्रैक्टिस पॉसिबल नहीं है. प्रैक्टिस क्या है? अम्बरीश महाराज ने जो किया. अम्बरीश महाराज ने नवदा भक्ति में अपने मन को लगाया. क्योंकि मन जो है वो कभी भी खाली नहीं रह सकता है. मन को कहीं ना कहीं एंगेजमेंट चाहिए. अगर मन कृष्ण कॉन्शियस नहीं है तो माया कॉन्शियस है बाय डिफॉल्ट. तो मन को नवदा भक्ति में लगाना पड़ेगा. सो ही सेड engage the mind in 9 kinds of devotional service. And he says the first and foremost of all the bhakti elements is hearing about Krishna. Hearing about Krishna is the topmost process of devotional engagement. तो कभी भी कंफ्यूजन हो क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है, कुछ समय है क्या करूं, तो अदर चैंटिंग करो या हियरिंग करो. हियरिंग होने के बाद चैंटिंग करो. चैंटिंग बोर होने के बाद हियरिंग करो. सो सेड सारे सारे से सारे मतलब अनर्थों को पर्ज करने का जो मेथड बताया गया. पर्ज पर्ज मतलब निकालने का जो मेथड है, सारे गंदे आदतों को, सब कुछ, एवरीथिंग इज hearing. Hearing is the most transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. So he said बाकी सब कुछ ऑटोमेटिक आएगा. वैराग्य आएगा, प्रेम आएगा, सेवा भाव आएगा, सब कुछ आएगा हियरिंग से. दैट्स वाई हमारे कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस में हियरिंग पे कितना फोकस दिया गया है. मॉर्निंग में डेली हियरिंग करते हैं, शाम को हियरिंग करते हैं, कैंप्स में हियरिंग करते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि हियरिंग इज द मोस्ट पावरफुल मेथड. सो वी हैव टू लर्न टू इंक्रीज अवर स्पिरिचुअल स्टैमिना नाउ. We have to increase spiritual stamina. Spiritual muscles को build up करना है. Hearing spiritual muscles को. तो जितना हम hearing muscles को, so यहाँ पे अर्जुन suppose कहते हैं कि accepting what Arjuna has said, Krishna is giving here conclusion. Now what Krishna is telling, although the disease is very serious, like sometimes disease is very serious, but if you get the right medicine as per doctor's prescription, even if it takes time, don't worry, it will get cured. Like sometimes some diseases are very dangerous, deadly to cure. It is not so easy to cure it. They take a lot of time. And we lose even faith on doctor only. Whether the doctor who is giving the medicine, whether it will work, not work. But see, doctor has a confidence. Doctor has the medicines are such a manner that if you just take it, whether now you are in good condition, bad condition, whatever condition, but if you take a medicine with a faith, then it's medicine will work. Whether you believe it, not believe it will work. So although mind is very difficult to control, but there is a need of a practice, and this practice is given by the direction of Guru. So if somebody takes some specific instructions from Guru for whatever difficulties they are facing, then like they can overcome their shortcomings. So you have to take specific instructions. Like when you have a disease, you go to a doctor and you take specific instructions and medicines from the doctor. So whatever difficulties which we have in our life, we have to go to a doctor, we have to go to a Vaishnava, and we have to take a specific instructions for overcoming our anarthas. See, there are certain generalized medicines. There are some general health tips, like uh, like in COVID time or any disease comes, we know like this kind of food to be taken, this to be done, that to be done. These are like general instructions, which are very beneficial. But certain times what happens, general instructions we are not getting benefited. मतलब हम जनरल इंस्ट्रक्शन सुन रहे हैं डॉक्टर के, ऐसे हेल्थ टिप्स लगाओ, ये करो, सैलड खाओ, ये खाओ, वो खाओ, लेकिन सपोज किसी के पेट में बहुत गड़बड़ हो गया है, अभी वो सैलड खाए तो भी प्रॉब्लम, कर्ड खाए तो भी प्रॉब्लम, बटर मिल्क खाए तो भी प्रॉब्लम, कुछ ना खाए तो भी प्रॉब्लम, खाए तो भी प्रॉब्लम, सब कुछ गड़बड़ चल रहा है. नाउ ही हैज टू गो टू अ डॉक्टर and take a specific medicine according to his disease. Now doctor will not give general prescriptions then. Okay, buttermilk पियो, ये पियो, वो भी दे सकता है, लेकिन स्पेसिफिक मेडिसिन देगा. तो कई बार हमारा यहाँ पे लैकिंग होता है. अगर मेरा मन जो है, if my mind and my anarthas are producing some specific trouble for me, which I'm not able to give up for a long time, then that means I need a specific treatment. I need to go to a doctor and ask him, Prabhu, what is this difficulty? Why I'm not able to give up my this anartha, my this bad habit, or this difficulty in my life for so long? Please give me some medicine. Then he will tell, okay, specific instructions. Prabhu, you have this difficulty? You do this anga of bhakti very nicely. You do hearing very nicely. Or you do austerity like Ekadashi very nicely. Some particular bhakti element will be given as a prescription to you by doctor or guru, and then one can overcome. So by suitable practice and by detachment. So by these two methods, one can deal with this obstinate mind. So yeah. So even so, there is one very nice discussion that comes here, where which Baldev Vidyabhushan mentions. He says mind is very difficult to control. We can understand, but mind can be controlled by renunciation arising from seeing the fault in the sense objects, which are different from Atma. So there is one shloka which says, see the fault in the process of sense gratification. See the fault, see the dosha in the process of sense gratification. Then it becomes little easier also. So this is called as detachment. This is called as that practice. Now see the fault. Now, like I gave you example some time back. There was a boy who was feeling very lusty for a girl. He was feeling disturbed by a girl. As soon as he saw little dosha, he saw dosha. My God, दोषा क्या देखा उसने, अरे ये तो कुछ अलग एडजेक्टिव लग गया इसके सामने, तो सी पूरा का पूरा अट्रैक्शन गायब हो गया, राइट ना. तो यू सी नाउ when you see the fault in the process of sense gratification, like suppose you are traveling in the train, you're traveling in the train and you saw your favorite prasadam item, you saw not prasadam item, food item, favorite food item, some vada pav has come or some pizza has come, and you remember your olden days before you became devotee and you were very attracted. Now you are just about to eat it, and some devotee comes, Prabhu, Prabhu, wait, wait, this is not offered, or this is not prasadam, this is non-devotees, this is onion garlic wala food. All your desire and mind and जा एक वर्ड डाल दिया, ऑनियन गार्लिक, जाओ हरी बोल छोड़ दो, पूरा का पूरा अट्रैक्शन ही चला गया आपका. Or like some personality is a very great YouTube speaker, and you like to hear him, and you are very impressed by that. Not he's not a ISKCON devotee, but you are very impressed by him, you like to hear him, and somebody tells, oh, he speaks Mayavad. Gone all your, as soon as you saw little fault in that object ना, गया, खत्म. जैसे कि कोई आपका मोबाइल का मॉडल है, ये मोबाइल का मॉडल है, ये है वो है, सब कुछ अच्छा है, आपको बहुत अट्रैक्टिव फील हो रहा है, सडनली आपने फॉल्ट देख लिया उसके अंदर. क्या फॉल्ट देखा? इसका बैटरी सिर्फ आधे घंटे में डिस्चार्ज हो जाता है पूरा का पूरा. जाओ, कुछ काम का नहीं. सो एज सुन एज यू सी द फॉल्ट, so this is the method, detachment method, which is mentioned by Yoga Sutras. This is the method which is being given by Yoga Sutras. So Krishna is telling Arjun, Arey Baba, you can even defeat Shiva in battle. You can defeat even Duryodhan, Karna, big battle, Maharathis in the battle. Do you think you will be defeated by mine? You are the biggest of all warriors. So you should not fear. When he said, he's telling like that. Don't think. By suitable practice and detachment, you are the very big warrior. So don't get discouraged. He's telling like that. Yeah. So next shloka. Six 6.36. असंशयात्मना योगो दुष्प्राप इति मे मति वश्यमात्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाप्तुम् उपायत.
Translation: for one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead declares that one who does not accept the proper treatment to detach the mind from material engagement can hardly achieve success in self-realization. Trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water on it. Yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. Such a show of yoga may be materially lucrative, but it is useless as far as self-realization is concerned. Therefore, one must control the mind by engaging it constantly in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Unless one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. A Krishna conscious person easily achieves the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor. But a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without becoming Krishna conscious.
So he said they have to take these measures for suitable practice. So suitable practice is Navda Bhakti. Engage the mind in Navda Bhakti. That is the practice. And detachment means not giving opportunity to again pour the water on the fire. So we are igniting fire, but again we are putting water onto it. So he says we have to create a suitable environment. Like I was just telling yesterday, uh, I can now very openly tell that this Instagram, like this one devotee was showing me Instagram yesterday. I said, somebody has Instagram. I don't know how we can practice bhakti only. I said, how, Prabhu? Means very tough, very tough. Almost it is like a full dirty things are there. It's like kachre ka dabba. You are trying to find something good in the kachre ka dabba. Like, Prabhu, no, Prabhuji, there are some nice channels which come. Radha Vrindavan Chandra, ISKCON. I said, Prabhu, I don't know. It's like a diamond kept in the kachre ka dabba. Very rare to find a diamond in the kachre ka dabba. So now somebody says, I now at least I'm going to tell this frank policy in our voices now. No Instagram in voice at all, except for a person who is going to preach or who is going to do some business. This is of no use at all. Although it is strict there, but earlier we never used to monitor like that. But this is like we cannot do bhakti only properly when we are seeing so many dirty things here, there. Even if you don't want to see dirty things, you will be forced to see. So he said, this is not at all. So you have to have a suitable practice of detachment. Create an environment. Like recently, these PDC devotees have come in our temple. I was just talking with some PDC devotees. So, Prabhu, how is your experience of PDC life? You stayed 1 month in our temple. How is your experience of PDC life? Then this one devotee was saying, प्रभु क्या आप बताएं, एकदम अच्छा, एकदम ऐसा लिबरेटेड फील हो रहा है। बोला कैसे? मुझे इतना लिबरेशन फील हो रहा है, मन का जो संघर्ष था, इतने लास्ट 8 8 10 10 साल का जो संघर्ष था, सब गायब हो गया। बोला कैसे गायब हो गया? तो बोले सबसे पहला तो बटन फोन आ गया मेरे पास। तो बटन फोन आ गया, अभी स्मार्टफोन ही नहीं है, तो ऐसा लग रहा है प्रभु वैकुंठ में घूम रहा हूँ। बोले वैकुंठ के अंदर घूम रहा हूँ। तो बाद में बोले लैपटॉप भी नहीं रखा प्रभु मेरे पास। बोला वाह। बोले इतना अच्छा लग रहा है ना, बस हरि नाम में जाओ, गौर आरती करो, चैंटिंग करो, रीडिंग करो, हियरिंग करो, मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम करो, क्लास पे क्लास सुनो, प्रसाद भी एकदम हाई क्लास। बोले पूरा एकदम सुपर लिबरेशन फील हो रहा है। तो मैं बोला अच्छा वाह। बोले मुझे इतने सारे जो डिफिकल्टीज थे मेरे लास्ट 5 5 6 6 साल के, 1 महीने में गायब हो गए, ऐसा लग रहा है सब कुछ। ऐसा लग रहा है मैं प्योर ड्यूटी बन गया हूँ 1 महीने के अंदर, ऐसा लग रहा है। बोला हाँ अभी लगेगा, बाद में फिर से कुछ समय के बाद कंट्रोल करके रखना क्योंकि इतना आसान नहीं है। So you see, this is the power of right environment. When we keep ourselves in the right environment, na, which is aloof from distractions, mind feels great joy. We have to keep ourselves in an environment which is aloof from distractions, because along with distraction, very difficult to practice. So we have to create an environment. If mobile phone is causing trouble, then we have to keep away from mobile phone. Whatever is a troublesome to our troublesome, that has to be kept away. Yes, for 37th. Now Arjuna is telling here. So Krishna has told that it is possible by suitable practice and detachment. Now Arjuna gets a very compassionate question. Arjuna says, okay, in case if I take to the path of yoga, I practice it for 4 5 days or 1 month or 1 year, and after 1 year I got to know that I cannot do this path of yoga. Because in other paths, what has happened is, in path of yoga, if you cannot attain perfection, then whatever you did is a waste of time. अगर आपको मतलब आपने इंजीनियरिंग चालू किया, आपने आईआईटी में एडमिशन लिया, बहुत मेहनत करके आईआईटी में एडमिशन लिया, और फर्स्ट ईयर में आपको जम ही नहीं रहा है आईआईटी, आपको बैकलॉग पे बैकलॉग लगकर आपने डिसाइड कर दिया फर्स्ट ईयर के बाद, आई थिंक आई कैनॉट डू आईआईटी इंजीनियरिंग। Then whatever so much amount of JEE, NET, NEET, JEE, CET, so many exams you give, almost became waste of time because you did not become engineer. You got admission into IIT college, but you did not get. So now Arjuna is getting question here. What if somebody takes to the path of yoga and now is not able to practice path of yoga? He gives up the path of yoga and again engages in sense gratification. अभी प्रॉब्लम है, उसको सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन भी अच्छा नहीं लगेगा और भक्ति भी अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, तो बुरी तरह बैंड बज गया उसका। ना योगा ना वो ना योगा ना भोगा, ओनली रोगा। ना योगा ना योगा रहा, ना भोगा रहा, ओनली रोग ही रोग रहा। ऐसा व्यक्ति का तो बैंड बज गया पूरा जीवन में, ना मटर लाइफ में सक्सेसफुल ना स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में सक्सेसफुल। सो अर्जुन इज आस्किंग दिस क्वेश्चन टू अर्जुन उवाच अयति श्रद्धयोपेत योगाच्चलितमानसः अप्राप्य योग संसिद्धिं काम गतिं कृष्ण गच्छति।
Translation. Arjun said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? Purport. The path of self realization or mysticism is described in Bhagavad Gita. The basic principle of self realization is knowledge that the living entity is not this material body, but that he is different from it and that his happiness is in eternal life, bliss, and knowledge. These are transcendental, beyond both body and mind. Self realization is sought by the path of knowledge, by the practice of eightfold system, or by bhakti yoga. In each of these processes, one has to realize the constitutional position of the living entity, his relationship with the God, and the activities whereby he can re-establish the lost link and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. Following any of the above mentioned three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. This was asserted by Lord in the second chapter. Even a little endeavor on the transcendental path offers a great hope for deliverance. Out of these three methods, the path of Bhakti Yoga is especially suitable for this age because it is the most direct method of God realization. To be doubly assured, Arjun is asking Krishna to confirm his former statement. One may sincerely accept the path of self realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and the practice of eightfold yoga system are generally very difficult for this age. Therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. First of all, one may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. To pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on illusory energy. Consequently, when a person tries to escape the clutches of illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. A conditioned soul is already allured by the modes of material nature, and there is every chance of being allured again, even while performing transcendental disciplines. This is called Yoga Chalita Manas, deviation from the transcendental path. Arjun is inquisitive to know the result of deviation from the path of self realization.
Hmm. So you said deviation. We get deviated in life. Yoga Charita Manasaha. Mind makes us deviated in spiritual life. So Prabhupada is writing, to pursue spiritual path is like declaring war against Maya. So all of us, like India has declared war against Pakistan, suppose. You see how India has to be alert. अभी भी अगर अभी अटैक सीज फायर हो गया है, लेकिन अभी भी इंडिया को अलर्ट रहना पड़ रहा है. कब मिसाइल छोड़ देगा है, कब ड्रोन छोड़ देगा, कब बॉम्ब छोड़ देगा, पता नहीं. यू हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड. तो लाइक दिस डिफेंस, द मिलिट्री डिफेंस वाला साल भर मॉक ड्रिल्स करते हैं, प्रैक्टिस करते हैं. कब? कभी तो वार होता है उनका, इतना प्रैक्टिस करना पड़ता है उनको एक फाइट के लिए. एयर सिस्टम, डिफेंस सिस्टम, crores and crores of rupees, so much hard work. So we have also declared war against Maya. We have taken that. To take to spiritual life means to declare war against Maya. And when you are going on a war, you cannot go without any bulletproof jacket or anything. You cannot just go छाती फाड़ के जाओ, माया अटैक कर मुझे, beat me. ऐसा वो आप इतने खतरनाक चैंपियन नहीं है कि माया को बोलना पड़ेगा बीट मी करके. माया हमको वैसी बीट मारते रहती है, खतरनाक बीट मारती है. तो he said कि we have to go well armed. We have to go with proper suitable missile guns, this, or otherwise Maya will do sindoor operation on us. Sindoor लगा देगा हमको डायरेक्ट, right ना. So you see, Maya is Maya's war agents are very powerful, and if we are not very armed properly, then we are defeated. So Arjuna is still asking a question here, that if I do bhakti little bit or any path of yoga, and if I become failure, then what will be the result? So Krishna is telling now that do not worry. A little bit is done. So, so what happens to a person who does not endeavor, who does not practice, and who does not have detachment? He only puts little effort in the bhakti. Little. Ayati. Ayati means he doesn't put hard work. थोड़ा हल्का सा endeavor लगाता है, छोटा सा endeavor. सो ये सेट ऐसा नहीं कि बिल्कुल काम नहीं कर रहा है, बिल्कुल भक्ति नहीं कर रहा है, हल्की सी भक्ति कर रहा है, हल्की सी एकदम. तो ऐसे व्यक्ति के साथ में क्या होता है, जैसे तो वो बोलते हैं कि इट इज लाइक अ कलरलेस पोरिच, कलरलेस खिचड़ी. मतलब कभी कभी एकदम हल्की सी हल्दी डाली आपने खिचड़ी के अंदर, तो अजीब ही दिखेगी ना एकदम. प्रॉपर टेस्टी, हल्का सा नमक डाला, टेस्टी नहीं आएगा प्रॉपर. सो ही सेड सिमिलरली, व्हेन वी पुट लिटिल वेरी लेस एफर्ट इन द पाथ ऑफ योगा, चालू तो कर दिया लेकिन उसने पानी सफिशिएंट नहीं डाला, नमक सफिशिएंट नहीं डाला, मसाला सफिशिएंट नहीं डाला, तो अजीब ही कुछ बन जाएगा वो. तो इससे नाइदर वो खिचड़ी खाने के भगवान को ऑफर करने के लायक बना खिचड़ी हो, नाइदर वो खाने के लिए लायक बना, नाइदर किसी को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट भी नहीं कर सकते. तो इसे ऐसा व्यक्ति तो पूरा वेस्ट ही गया. मतलब पूरा वेस्ट गया प्रोडक्ट, जिसने प्रॉपरली बनाया नहीं करके. सो इसे this is what we ayati. Ayati is a very important word here. Ayati means little effort. When we don't put much effort, that is ayati. Now, okay, this last verse we'll take for today. That is 38, and then I think we'll stop for today. Then tomorrow, next week, then I think we'll complete this chapter. कचिन्नो भय विभ्रस्तस् छन्नाभ्रमिव नश्यति अप्रतिष्ठो महाबाहो विमूढ़ो ब्रह्मणपति.
O mighty young Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud? with no position in any sphere? Purport. There are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence. Therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in proportion to the higher planets by appropriate work. When one takes to the path of transcendence, one has to cease all material activities and sacrifice all forms of so-called material happiness. If the aspiring transcendentalist fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. He is like a riven cloud. A cloud in the sky sometimes deviates from a small cloud and joins a big one. But if it cannot join a big one, then it is blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. The Brahmanapati is the path of transcendental realization through knowing oneself to be spiritual in essence, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord who is manifested as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Lord Sri Krishna is the fullest manifestation of the Supreme Absolute Truth, and therefore one who is surrendered to the Supreme Person is a successful transcendentalist. To reach this goal of life through Brahman and Paramatma realization takes many, many births. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Therefore, the supermost path of transcendental realization is Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness, the direct method.
Yes, bro. So here there is one word which is used is kvachit. So kvachit is indicating the question. So Arjuna is asking if I fail on both the sides, I give up material life, I took to spiritual life, and I failed in spiritual life also. Then my situation will be like a cloud which got separated from the original cloud. Now it cannot even become other cloud, neither it can give rain, and it has just lost into oblivion. So he said, if I took path of yoga, and again I get the desire to material enjoyment, but because I lack real detachment. So I have desire to enjoy the senses, and so I give up spiritual life, but I cannot even enjoy material life now. So he said, now I am na ghar ka na ghat ka. So is Arjuna is asking, ना मैं घर का भी नहीं रहा ना घाट का भी रहा, तो क्या करना चाहिए ऐसा व्यक्ति के लिए? तो आगे जाके अर्जुन ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, and Krishna will answer this in the next section. So this will be the last section for our this discussion, this chapter. So Prabhu, just one thing, like I'm just checking calendar. एकादशी कब है Prabhu? Next.
कल है प्रभु जी।
ओके, कल एकादशी है और नेक्स्ट वीक में महाराज का स्नान पूर्णिमा कब है? स्नान पूर्णिमा anyone knows? Can you just check? When is the पूर्णिमा? कल एकादशी है, 23 तारीख को एकादशी है, तो 24 को द्वादशी, 25, 26, 27, 27 को चतुर्थ पूर्णिमा अमावस्या आ रहा है कि इसमें पूर्णिमा स्नान पूर्णिमा अगले महीने में कि इस महीने में?
तो जी
इसी
11
महीने में।
जून दिखा रहा है।
अच्छा 11 जून है क्या स्नान पूर्णिमा?
स्नान स्नान यात्रा।
अच्छा 11 जून आ रहा है, अभी नहीं है। ठीक है ठीक है, फिर तो
प्रभु
नॉट
जी
ए इश्यू।
27 को रथ यात्रा है, तो उसके 11-15 दिन पहले ही रहता है ना, भगवान बीमार गिरते जो।
करेक्ट करेक्ट करेक्ट। नहीं, वो भक्ति आश्रम महाराज का जो इनिशिएशन है इस वीक में है। भक्ति आश्रम महाराज का इनिशिएशन कौन से डे को है? भक्ति आश्रम महाराज का इसी वीक में है शायद से, इस वीक में। ठीक है, सो प्रभु
इसी
जस्ट
वीक
वन थिंग,
में।
हाँ, what I may need what I'm going to do, like in the next week the session will get over, that is for sure. Now only 10 verses are remaining, so I just wanted to check in next week, can we do then 27 28 Tuesday Wednesday? Tuesday Wednesday matlab, is it possible to do Tuesday Wednesday in the next week? Why? Because in case if something remains, I had a plan of giving entire 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita in 45 minutes, all the 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita in a story format. Because we have read several purports, we have read several things. Sometimes we may lose the link. We may lose the link कि कैसे flow हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है 6 chapters. So all the 6 chapters of Gita in 45 minutes. So that was a plan. So if it is possible in these 2 days, I'll try my best to do on those 2 days only. But in case if it requires that one more last session is required, so in this week only we want to complete everything. So is that okay if we do Tuesday, Wednesday, and if required, then Thursday? Otherwise, no. It will not take Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, is it okay? Devotee, you can just check with the devotees. Devotees
Yes.
can raise their hands if they're okay next week. If they can, 27, 28, Tuesday, Wednesday, because this is the last session for them. You'll have a big gap. At least 1.5 month gap will be there for you. So I'll try my best to cover in 2 days only. If not, then we might take one more half an hour. We might take for one more day, and we'll have that will be like a last. So don't miss the sessions. In case you have missed certain sessions, you are inattentive. So this will be like last 3 sessions. If you are attentive, you will get entire summary and overview of all the 6 chapters. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa
Yes.
sindhu. Patitanam pavane